Shelley there? Okay, so.
Oh, there he is.
Okay, well, it's 9 a.m. Does anybody know where Troy went?
He stepped out.
there.
Okay.
Morning, Charlie.
You came up the back door. Oh, under the front, sorry.
All of your fobs have been programmed to open the main entrances now.
Okay.
If you come in the back door, it's the handicap door that opens.
Thank you.
So where do you wave
Did you
the
take
fob?
that State's attorney?
It's off to the side, downstairs of this door, down by the handicap button. It's
Stream it
right
link.
there.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yes,
Friday.
I probably
This
did.
morning.
I gave it to everybody.
Oh, really?
But I
Mine?
tried to just wave the
Stream it
line.
on.
Oh, yeah, no, it's over on the side.
I
It's a
didn't
little...
even get that far, and Dave was there to let me.
Oh, okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, March 24th. We are having our weekly meeting of the Cottington County Commissioners. For any of our folks, that if you're able to listen to us, we are streaming live. We would also, at this time, when we are trying to do our social distancing and our public buildings are closed, another option for individuals is that they could call in and leave their name and number, and then during the open portion of the meeting, we will call them and let them express what their thoughts are. Obviously, if it's not on the agenda, then it's something that we will not be able to act on, but just for our information purposes, those two phone numbers are 882-6297 and also 882-6288. So this is just another procedure that we're going to try to do to make us accessible to the public in this time of uncharted territory. I guess with that, if obviously we don't have people in so much in our audience as for public comment, we'll wait for those to come in on the phone. I guess let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Charlie, would you lead us?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So that brings us to item number, we'll skip over 2 since the announcement was basically made for individuals to call those numbers, and we'll address that at the open. As item number 3, any conflict of interest? Nope. Yeah, for the board members, I'm sorry. Is there anyone with anything on the agenda? All right. Item number 4, action to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Got a motion by Gable?
Second.
Second by Waterman. Any additions, corrections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Action to approve the minutes of the March 17th, 2020 meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Waterman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by, which one of you guys? Gable, Van Duzen?
Who was
Any,
the second?
who's calling that one?
I'll
Gable?
second it.
Okay.
Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries as well. Our monthly reports, I did receive from our
I put a copy on everybody's desk.
extension, okay, yep, from Jody Lair. Obviously, they are not able to attend. She did send us a report, and each one of you received one. I don't know, should I read what she had? I'll just read her report, I guess, since she's not able to attend. All South Dakota 4-H activities are suspended through at least April 14th, 2020. This is due to the ongoing impacts of the coronavirus, COVID-19, and the unprecedented challenges it poses to the communities across South Dakota. The safety of our 4-H members, families, volunteers, and employees remains the highest priority. SDSU Extension 4-H program advisors are planning virtual opportunities for youth along with planning future programming with other advisors. Zoom is being used daily for communications. Sonia Mack, Tracy Lurkey, and I are offering a special food/CDM judging Zoom on Thursday at 2 p.m. The State 4-H office and SDSU update us often, and we have weekly Friday Zooms with the 4-H program director for more updates and planning. Kim and Becky are very helpful at the office to keep our community updated, along with communications to our 4-H members. Last week, we sent out letters to our 4-H Achievement Day judges and hope we can plan many of our summer events for the 4-H youth, but taking that day by day with the COVID-19 updates. Looking forward to getting back to 4-H normal with the 4-H youth. Jody Lair, SDSU Extension 4-H Youth Program Advisor / Cottington County. So, with that,
Madam Chair, just so people know what Zoom is, it's a way to have a virtual, it's an app that people can use to have a virtual meeting, basically meet in remote places. So, FYI.
things that we all will be learning about very soon, I think. So, all right, we will move on to B, Emergency Manager Director, and Jamie Torstensen is here.
Morning, Jamie.
Good morning, Jamie.
You want to push the button, turn it on?
Good morning.
I don't think it's on yet. There you go.
Good morning. Well, she's been very busy and changes daily, I can tell you that. I'm just going to start from the top of what, since the last time we've met. I attended the local township and weed board meeting at the Extension Center, and what we did there was provided our townships, all of our townships, with information as far as flood response and resource documents that were provided from the state office and our office to help them lead that battle if that was going to happen. The second item that I've attended was a National Weather Service briefing up in Aberdeen on potential flood forecasts with all of our local, regional, county, and state officials up there. What come out of that was very promising as far as outlooks were concerned, but the best, to my knowledge, listening through it, we still are have a heavy potential of being impacted by flood, which we're looking at today with the rain. It would take a considerable, about an inch roughly, in a 6-hour event to provide us to take action at a moderate flooding stage, but we're very saturated yet as far as that is concerned at upper levels of 90% and beyond. So we're keeping a close eye on that as well. Also provided weather spotter training at the Extension Center, and what we ended up having there between the 2 days was roughly 80 people, which was a good turnout for that. National Weather Service out of Aberdeen provides excellent training on that. Pretty well digitally based this year. There wasn't much for handouts, but I think people that attended were happy with it. We held a local LEP meeting a couple weeks ago. Also, what we ended up attending with local law enforcement from Watertown was the Homeland Security up in Webster. And that ended up providing, on our county behalf, mobile radios for my office and portable radios for the sheriff's office. And the city ended up getting the other half of that, and I think roughly, if I remember my facts correctly, it was just under $80,000 is what we were granted under Homeland Security money. Also, now moving on forward, now that it's become very evident with the COVID-19 response since the national emergency and the state executive orders out of the governor's office, we've been working closely with a regional or a local task force committee that's been formed. It's very large, but there's a lot of professional people involved with this, and hopefully we can obtain everything following the guidance out of one entity on my end with the OEM state office. We get that information through the Department of Health and all the CDC guidance, and they're leading the charge on this. I will end up being a logistics section of that command structure. If we have the potential of opening our EOC, which is pretty high probabilities, I would assume, within the next, could be today, could be next week, I don't know, until we get to those statures. But we will be just keeping on top of it and working closely with department heads and county people in meetings on how we're now closed to the public, what measures and developments we can have with department heads and keep them moving forward on conducting business via mail, online, phone. Other than that, it's just been kind of chaotic with the phone and the emails, but doing my best. All my state training and local training as well has been canceled or postponed, but we'll just keep moving forward. I would assume those may be able to become online for me through the OAM office, but working closely with our regional coordinator and trying to stay on top of this as much as we can as it changes pretty much daily.
How much rain did we get last night?
I haven't seen that yet.
You know, it was just enough to, on my creek out there, melt there's a little bit of ice around the edge yesterday, and now that's gone. So that's not all bad to get just a little bit of rain to open up the creeks wide open, but they're running really good.
They are running really good.
They're really running.
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't think the spillways have really hit hard, have they? How about by
No,
you?
the one behind my place is probably, all you could drive through it.
Okay.
So it's not that bad, but it's still running over the spillway. So it's still going over.
I think we need to stay diligent and vigilant on those issues, and that might be a quick trip for me today as well.
Yeah, so you never know how fast that water starts flowing, and then those spillways could become an issue.
Madam Chair, while Jamie's here, do we want to take care of this emergency resolution? Would that be a good time, or should we wait?
Or down here, we have item number 12.
Yeah, we do.
discussion
Okay. All right.
For all
Okay.
those sorts of
Yeah.
things, maybe we'll do
Yeah.
that. Was Jamie,
Any other questions for me, or?
I think at this point, no, are you able to hang around?
Yo.
Okay.
You bet.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the sheriff.
Morning,
Morning,
Brad.
Brad.
Morning, Brad. Should be enough for everybody there? I don't know if did you get the email?
I got it. I'm having trouble pulling it up, though, for some reason, but I can,
That's just a
yeah.
little bit, so.
Yeah, let me see if we can, I'll do it on the Excel.
We'll
Go
start.
ahead and start
Oh,
on that.
Brad,
Brad, turn your mic on.
thank you.
Thank you.
Is that better? All right, we'll start with the monthly balance sheet. The bank balance end of February was $9,391.25. Collected $12 in copy fees. Collected $8,647 in sheriff's fees and $275 in warrant fees for a grand total of $8,934. Jump over to the next page there.
I can pull it up in Excel, just doesn't look as neat.
You get her to pull up on your email there, or should we just?
I got it, I'll pull it up in Excel.
We'll get started on it. In the meantime, Lee'll get her pulled up here. We'll start with some sheriff's activity here for February. We responded to 572 cases and calls. 10 accident reports were written. 71 warrants were served. 220 civil papers were served. And 3,128 transport miles. Talking about transports, we just actually got back from Texas. We had a long run down there. We had to pick up a guy that was wanted on rape, first degree. So we did just get back Saturday night with him. So should be higher miles next month. If you jump on down to some jail activity here, for February, our average daily population was 64.9. Our high ADP was 80. Our low was 52. Our scram was 25 people on the scram bracelet, which is part of the 24/7 program. The twice weekly PBTs, 58. And on the twice weekly UAs, there was 48. And 2 people in a sweat patch, for a grand total of 133 people in the 24/7 program. And we had 221 bookings for the month of February. Yeah, Scroll on down a little bit more there, Lee. In February, we collected $18,834 in out-of-county contracts. And work release fees, we collected $4,230. 24/7 fees, we collected $6,680. And scram fees, collected $4,867.
Let's go to the difference between the two, February 2019 and February 2020, 6,000.
Brad, are out-of-county inmates, or are the other counties taking action to reduce the number of people they send up here?
We have,
Sentencing and...
yesterday, we had 2 out-of-county inmates, one from Lake County, and I can't remember the other one. Might have been a DOC hold.
Okay.
I can't remember what the other one was off the top of my head, but we had 2 as of yesterday. In the Third Circuit, we have the same judges that kind of jump from town to town, so they realize our issues that we're dealing with the COVID-19 here. And if you want, we can kind of talk about some of the things that I've done in the jail here to kind of limit exposure to that. We've worked with the judges, and the judges have let about 13, 14 people out of jail that were sentenced inmates that were on the work release program. So we did discontinue the work release program as of now. We don't have anybody on the work release program. 24/7 from the courts. We have suspended the 24/7 program, direction from the courts. And
One thing about that, just that we talked about this a little bit yesterday in a separate meeting, but it's important that we realize that even though they're not going to the jail for the 24/7, they still have all the bond conditions other than that they have to meet.
And that was at the direction of the courts, did you say?
the direction of the courts,
Okay.
yes. They have been working with us closely. They realize the issues that we could potentially have if we were to get COVID-19 in our jail facility. Like I say, we have confined quarters and real similar to hospitals, and so it could run rampant if we were to get it in there. We've also minimized church. We don't have any other church, AA, no civil fingerprints that are happening. We've limited the people coming and going. If a law enforcement officer brings an inmate to our facility, jail staff meets them out there in the Sally Port. We screen them. We take their temperature. All these questions are been developed by our medical staff. So we're trying to make sure that we're keeping that out. If they do need medical attention, they do go to Prairie Lakes before we admit them into our place. We have moved inmates around. We have some area there where, if need be, we can quarantine and isolate individuals, just trying to follow the CDC guidelines. And so we are taking precautions there.
Can I just mention a couple other things, Madam Chair? That's with the MedCare, having a focused medical staff that knows to do that. I mean, they do these practices in other jails as well, so you showed me that questionnaire that they use, so it's pretty thorough to assess if a person has possible symptoms of coronavirus. And then the other thing to mention, and our jail population is down right now because
47 this morning.
I think that's mostly because the judges are delaying the sentences where they can.
Yep. Exactly.
So that means a person might get sentenced, but there's not room in the inn at the time. Delaying is a fairly common thing. But now we're talking about delaying it until this is over, which, if we can,
probably means our jail numbers are going to spike a little bit after this is over.
Yeah.
Just looking ahead. So
the spike that we had from January to February, any feelings on that, or any?
I think just things in court, they're getting kind of caught up from the summertime. I think that would probably be some of it. I see Becky was in the office. Maybe she can. Would you say just getting caught up from the summertime?
Right. People were wanting to address and get their cases taken care of. So we kind of spiked January, February. We're now down. We're pushing things out. So where there's going to be a spike later after having to deal with everything with the COVID.
So what you're saying is, if I understand, is that it's, the spike is due to sentencing, getting the sentencing taken care of, people going in, not necessarily more arrests, but people taking care of the, disposing of the cases, basically, yeah.
The other question I had is we took in $18,834 from other counties. How many people does that represent?
Probably 8 to 10% at that time. Our number did spike a little bit on out-of-county contracts there for a couple months. Right, 8 to 10% of our population probably.
Percent or head?
Percent, I would say. Like I say, that number, some days it would be 6, some days it might have been 8 people, some days it might have been 4. So it does kind of go up and down. So it's a rough.
That's quite an increase from January.
Yep.
Pretty much in line with what, I mean, we were working on the jail project, that was a common question, and so we dug into that, and the percentage was just under 10%, so 9-point-something percent was the typical average over time.
It has been down in the last 6-8 months. That number has been down, but like I say, in the last month or two, it did kind of spike a little bit.
So that 80 could say might be 72.
Yeah,
We didn't have the
69, 72.
If we didn't have the out-of-town people.
Yeah, that'd be Cottington inmates, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? We can move on to number 7, action to approve ordering of 2 patrol cars as budgeted items.
All right, I have 2 vehicles that were budgeted to be replaced this year. Looking to buy a Dodge Ram pickup. After looking at the pricing of the SUVs and some of those, it seemed like they just keep creeping up. And then we could use a pickup in the service anyways for winter and for pulling trailers, and we're levying on things. So
Is that pickup going to have graphics on it, Brad, or is it going to be like the other one?
yeah, it'll have graphics.
It'll be
on
marked?
it. Yep. That's the plan. So
Do we have those bids?
No,
I just got them all back here. I did bid locally here, and we got some prices back from Watertown Ford. Watertown Ford came back at $27,743 for the pickup. The state bid is $27,338. So $27,743 to.
and because these are under $50,000, we don't have to go by bid.
I would make a motion that we accept the Watertown Ford.
Well, I think he's got another one.
Yep.
Oh, you got others?
I got another one.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Then I have another one here that replace one of our transport vehicles, a Dodge Caravan, which they don't make anymore. When I've been looking at this year, I've been working with Watertown Ford, and they were trying to find one for us. They were unsuccessful at that. I did call the state bid, people that had the contract on that, and they actually had a hiccup, and they have 15 of them sitting there at our state bid price at $21,262. So we'd like to order one of those from the Dodge Grand Caravan from there. So
Do we need to make 2
Who's the
separate
vendor
bids?
on that?
that is Wagner Auto.
Nope, you can, one motion is,
Wagner or Wagner?
one motion is
Wagner,
fine.
W-A-G-N.
I'll make a motion to accept the Watertown Ford bid for the Dodge Ram, and I'll make a motion to accept the Wagner bid for the Dodge Caravan.
I would second Troy's motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Yeah, Chair, the price on the Ford was 27, from Ford, it was 27,743.
It was $400 more, yes.
It's $400 more.
Oh, it's 23,743,
No?
right, Brad?
27.
27,743.
Yeah.
And then 27,338.
But we don't have to accept a low bid
338.
in this instance, we can buy local.
There are going to be, like I say, we got to outfit it with a spotlight, graphics, and a trailer hitch, so there's going to be a little bit more expense on top of that once we get them, so.
For no matter
For
which.
just, for the Dodge Ram.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
You're going to
matter.
have that expense anyway.
So the $400 would be, is over and above the state bid.
$400 is above the state bid, so.
But we're supporting our local
Local.
business.
Yeah.
Local
That's what we want to do.
Exactly.
We need that
That's
right
what we
now.
need to do today.
Okay.
And since we had no other options on the Dodge Caravan, then that's just,
Yeah, that's the
given.
only reason we're doing
Yeah.
that. So,
all right.
Motion and a
Motion and a
second.
second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
opposed? That motion carries
Thanks for getting a
also.
local bid on that.
All right, item number 8, we can call Luke, oh, thanks, Brad. Any other things that you wanted to say? Gonna hang around? Or you gotta go? Okay, just in case we have some discussion coming up here on number 12. We can call Luke if we want an explanation as to what their procedures are. Are you all in favor of that? Give him a call?
What are they written in the packet?
I just thought then he can explain what
Yeah.
what measures he's going to take. So if somebody wants to dial, I don't know, Troy, if you want to call, I'll give you the number.
You have to dial 9 first on that?
Just hit 9, okay. 360-8060.
8660?
8060, sorry. We can start over if you need to. We don't need, yeah.
Okay, give it to me again, please.
360-8060. Try this once.
Just get a, that sounds like an ad prefix.
Is it a 605? Do I get dial 605?
We don't have to.
I don't know if his is a local number or not.
It
might
says
have to.
605, but we can try.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it's 605.
Okay, then.
on here.
Well, yeah.
Oh, you have to dial 9.
Okay.
I did.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so 91605
60-8060. Nothing else, and we can call First District. This is just his personal.
Oh my gosh.
915. Oh, sorry.
We got to put in a code.
When you use it as
Tell you
a...
what, Myron, go ahead and dial now.
Too many numbers for you?
All right, let's try it again. Okay.
have to dial 605, but some of you do.
Okay, what is it?
360-8060. Weird.
Okay, now we got something else weird going on.
I think you did 1605.
And the carrier pigeon will leave in 2 minutes.
Probably at Trump's office.
We had trouble with this yesterday a little bit too.
In fact, he's sitting on the ledge right now.
That sounds better.
Oh, all of a sudden we do.
Or I could just call Luke.
They can't.
This is Luke.
Hey Luke, how are you?
Good morning, Luke.
Good, how are you?
We're good.
Luke, this is Brenda. We're at the county commission meeting. We are up to item number, where are we in here? Item number 8, and I just thought it'd be better if you could explain what your procedures are going to be for all of us.
Out of, and I'm sorry, I don't have the agenda in front of me.
Okay.
As far as meetings or?
As far as, yeah, you as a zoning officer, what is your protocol going to be going forward?
Yeah, that's a very good point. So going on now, what we are doing is, as you are probably aware, the First District office is closed. It has been for a while now. We are now actually working remotely from home, which is fine. What I'll be doing is very similar hours. I'll actually be from 9 till noon. I'll be taking phone calls at our 882-5115 number. I'll be taking emails as well, either at my luke@firstdistrict.org or at the same one as usual at Becky's email. Becky's is coddington.county@sdstate.edu. And then also the phone calls, people can call in still at 882-6300, kind of similar to the rest of the offices. However, what will happen is if they call that number, what's going on is either Becky is emailing me or calling to get a hold of those folks. And we're going to be doing things via email and or phone call is basically it. There's a couple of kinks. As of now, we'll be continuing to take applications, but I'm directing everybody to get them either electronically or if they don't have an email address, unfortunately, it's probably going to have to be through snail mail. And we'll be mailing them out. And it will mean more back and forth conversation about how to do that. So it'll mean either take a picture or scan your application to me. I can tell you, you being an applicant, of course, I can tell you, are you there? Do you have your whole application done? Is there more information I need? I expect that to go on probably a couple times for each applicant, but I can help them through it. And then once it is fully completed, then I will tell them to mail it in along with payment, and I'll have the payment. I'll let them know what it is. They'll be able to send that, like I said, both to Becky or I. If they send it to Becky, she does like she usually does. If they walk up to the counter, if there's something they're missing, she'll let them know. But bottom line is it'll come and be forwarded to me, and I'll take a look at it and go back and forth with it. The only kink that I've run into so far, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how to handle it, but I've got a plan. Some of those, like say a new house, or some of those where we have letters of assurance that need to be signed, or specific conditions. Typically those have to be done in front of a notary. And right now, our office doesn't have a notary, ours being the county extension. They can't get in, is what I mean. Same thing with anything else, and if we're practicing our social distancing and keeping everyone out, then we can't really make exceptions for that sort of thing. So what I will likely be doing, and I expect more and more businesses to be in that same boat where they're not taking people in. So, bottom line is, and frankly, I don't want to put a notary in that position anyway, for someone to call them and say, hey, would you come over to my house and notarize this? So I think what we'll wind up doing is we'll draft, and I'll send it to Becky, the state attorney Becky, to view I'll send it to her to view a document that they would sign, letting them know that there's an additional requirement. It'll have a copy of the document that they are to sign in front of a notary, and they are agreeing to sign that when a notary is present. And so that's, I think, how we'll do it, and that'll be a required submittal, is what that'll be.
Madam Chair?
Like after the fact? Yes, please.
Yeah, they'll have to do it. So basically the permit's conditional upon getting that thing. And what we'll have to do is we will have to track all those, and then we'll send, once we're all open for business again, we will have to send them a letter or some form of notification saying you have 30 days to come in here and sign this thing. Otherwise your permit's revoked and we'll have to prosecute you. I highly doubt that'll be an issue, but as of now, if we want to keep allowing construction in the county, that's going to be the only way we can do it, is to go through it that way. It does beg the question whether that's something we want to think about, but I'm not going to approach that yet. Right now we can continue working this way, so I'll leave it at that. And that's probably a bigger community question.
Right. Lee has a question
Just
for you.
when we'd had a discussion yesterday in a separate meeting and we talked to Becky a little bit, and so she's a notary, and being able to offer curbside service basically, or just meet outside a building and take care of a notarization if they call ahead and arrange everything ahead of time. And we talked about that for a number of the county offices, case by case. If the person's not showing symptoms, we might meet them outside the courthouse or outside whatever facility is needed. But the key thing is to, the person can't be showing symptoms.
Right, but I kind of like Luke's idea, if it is something that will work, then we're not putting any of our county employees into any sort of situation that they may not show symptoms today, but maybe they are tomorrow. So,
That's
if
true.
it's something that's doable, as far as the state's attorney, I guess if we have another option.
And I'll just say this, it works for a building permit standpoint, because I can hold on to that and it not go off to the Register of Deeds. If it's something that's going to be recorded at the Register of Deeds, I think you're kind of with that, But my office, I think we can do that. I will say that if Becky's still cool, doing that, going out to the curb and doing that, then we'll probably go there. I'm basically making contingencies on the standpoint. I'm expecting that at some point, I'm planning for a situation where there's nobody in the office.
Right. Okay.
Is what I'm planning for. So Yes, its life is substantially more difficult now trying to do things. I'm also, the other thing I'm going to be drafting to that end about the difficulty and the time frame is just, I'm going to work on a letter or some sort of a fact sheet that goes through process on how we're going to handle things. I'll put that on the website, just so that people know. Get it electronically, send it to me, and I'll comment back, and then we'll need a hard copy before. Once we get the hard copy, then we mail out the permit is how we do it. I'll put that on the site, and then the other thing I'll do is I want to send that along with just kind of a cover letter to Watertown area home builders, letting them know so that they can distribute it to their membership that, listen, we don't know how long this is going to be, but we can all agree it's going to be inconvenient, but at least it's only inconvenient right now.
Right, and Luke, we have Becky, state's attorney here, so yeah, you guys can work that out. She kind of heard what you're saying, so then you can kind of get those things legally taken care of.
The timing.
Yeah, I was curious how that's going to work, but yeah, I will do that. I'll send that to her too, so she can see it too.
The timing is perfect. Building season starts.
Yeah, I have had my own inner conversations about whether or not we should even be issuing permits here for a while, but I am going to leave them to myself because I don't want it to be my idea, honestly, because that's the last thing I want to do is stop construction, because I know there are a lot of people that depend on this for their annual income. I don't want to shut that down. So if we can figure out a way to do it, we will continue to do it. And frankly, as long as people understand it's inconvenient for everyone, but we'll do the best we can. They just need to understand it's going to take a little bit longer to get through a permit because we aren't able to do face-to-face and drop things in and that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Anyone have any other questions? Or Luke, do you have any more comments?
Just if I can make a comment, Madam Chair. So Luke has a lot of this stuff already on his webpage on the county website, so cottington.org, and then on the right there's a menu. Then you click on the zoning office tab and you can see at least the beginning of everything that Luke said is right there on his webpage. So for people to refer to.
Yeah, the one thing that I do want to note, and I'm not positive, I haven't checked the website since yesterday. That was written on Friday, anticipating, offices still being open. So if there's a reference in there about people coming in to pick up documents, that obviously has changed between now and then, but we're going to get that off of there if it is on there. Yeah, that information is on there to try to explain that process.
Yeah, we did change that the wording on the first paragraph there to say Cottington County facilities are closed to the public to avoid the spread of coronavirus, and then it gives all.
Good. I didn't think to look at that yesterday afternoon before I left.
Question: do they want a Dropbox out there? Never thought about that.
Steve Bongraff, the maintenance facility dude or facility manager, has mentioned what we have done here at the courthouse is we have a Dropbox now, mainly for the treasurer because she's got the highest amount of volume of work. But is that something that could be done out the extension, Luke, that would help that process?
I do think that would help. Steve's out there more than I am, and or at least will be here. You guys would know better than I would where that would be convenient, inconvenient, and safe. My biggest concern is going to be, of course, that that's a secure Dropbox and that, with checks being dropped off and that sort of thing.
Right.
But, yeah, I think that would probably, people just aren't used to mailing things anymore. Mm-hmm. So I would actually fully support that if there's a way to do that. That way people get used to this thing still drop things off there if they need to.
Right, and that was critical for us here at the courthouse. It absolutely has to be secure, and it is that very thing. So if we would duplicate what we've done here out there, that might help that process as well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's right now, with us only doing a couple of permits a week, that's fine, but that's going to turn up to a couple a day very soon. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think that when we get to that level, that's going to be necessary. I don't think people will use it a ton I don't think people will just drop stuff off without having talked to us, because we're still going to have to be working through payments and answering questions. So I think that would be a good idea, so that people can come by at any time and drop that off, and we can just check it. So yeah, if you're able to, I think that's a good idea.
And then that way you'll have that communication, so you'll kind of be looking for it, so somebody will be pulling that out, you know, quite frequently.
Yeah, it'll be like a message in a bottle sometimes. But yeah, that'll be another way. Like I said, people are not used to mailing stuff.
Correct.
And, you know, so I think that makes great sense. That way I also can, I've got another way to hear from or catch people who don't like to use email much. So that'll be good.
All right. Any further comments, Luke?
No, that's it. Stay safe, and always let me know if you get questions, okay?
We will. Thank you for being available. Anyone else have any other?
I don't know if we need to take action, but the agenda item says
Yeah,
action.
I didn't know either if we really need to
Is it
take
just
action. It was more information, and it might have just been.
Yeah,
So we should
typically
be
those
good.
are just reports.
Okay.
I guess the one thing I would say from a standpoint of our office, like I said, we are work from home. I am basically going to be calling everyone back. We're treating our business the same as what I described to you the county is. And so if a call did come in to the 882-5115, our first district number, during 9 to 11, or sorry, 9 to noon, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Susie forwards that information of that person on to me. So if you're catching someone and someone calls and says, well, you know, I can't catch him there, well, the answer is that you're not going, when you call there, unfortunately, you're not going to directly get me. You're going to get our secretary, and she's going to give me the info, and I'll get back to them is what it is. And it's just a matter of how we're having to do business right now, because we don't have all the calls ringing in. So that's just for your sake, so that you know it's not going to come directly to me. It'll have to be transferred to me. I'll have to call them back. Okay?
Yep. Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Thanks for information,
Luke.
Luke. Have a good
All
day.
right. Yep, you too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
You want to hang up hit the phone button there? There you go. Okay, that brings us into item number 9, action to approve the AFSCME Local 2488A, the County Highway 2020 Union contract. I guess I would ask that we will be having an exec with Terry. There's a couple of questions about the contract, that we have an executive meeting on this, and then we can come back to this at the end of the meeting and
After
executive session and act on that. Does anyone have any issues?
Makes sense.
Okay, so then, item number 10, action to authorize the chair to sign an agreement with the SDDOT for the control of noxious weeds within the state highway right-of-way, and that would be Steve to do an explanation. We're going to get Carol in here for the next one.
What I am requesting to turn around and take action to have the chair authorize for the bid of $24,865 for state contracts of weed control on state right-of-ways. This comes up every year, and the county has opportunity to bid on this as long as they don't bid or invoice over $25,000. Once that is done, the state opens that up to public bidding also. So in order to keep the contract low enough, this is...
I'll make a motion to approve.
Got a motion by
Second.
Van Dusen and second by Gable. Any other discussion?
Question or for clarification for the people online. This is for materials and labor?
Materials and labor, yep, for control of noxious weeds in the right-of-way of state.
Is this the map of where that's going to
Yep, the map that's there is outlined of what's the destination area, what we control for the state.
This is pretty consistent with years in the past,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Same one.
Any other discussion? Thanks, Steve. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries also. Thanks, Steve. We'll move on to item number 11, action to waive the treasurer customer mailing fees for the duration of the coronavirus crisis. We have our treasurer here that I will ask her to do a little explanation, and then we will consider that. Good morning, Carol.
Okay, what I'm sort of hoping is, since people can't come in and mail is probably the best way for them to be doing their renewals, because they have no other choice, what we're sort of hoping is that we could waive the mailing fees and then just, just for this period of time, just because it's, it's not the customer's fault that we can't do a face-to-face meeting. As soon as the courthouse opens, then that option is available to them again. So that's the reasoning behind making the request to have
because
the mailing fee waived.
The fee is, right now,
The fee is currently $1 per registration, or if we're mailing somebody a license plate, it's $5 for that mailing fee.
so if there's several registrations in an envelope, it's $1 per registration.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Motion by
I'll
Van
second.
Dusen, second by Gable.
These are for licensing.
Licensing
license.
fees,
Vehicle
right.
license.
During the courthouse closure.
Right, because there are a
Be
number,
reinstated upon the opening of the courthouse.
there are a number of other fees that get assessed to these individuals, but we have no control over those. This is the only one that us as a county can waive those fees on.
Right, if somebody does a transaction by credit card, those transaction fees that we charge, those aren't anything that the county receives. Those are transaction banking fees, basically.
And then this is one thing where, to encourage people to go ahead and do their registration renewals by mail. This is, meant to encourage that, and then also, like you two are both saying, that this is one thing that we as a county can control.
Right.
So if you do, say, an online renewal, you can do that. There's a $1.50 fee for that. Or if you use a credit card, then it's whatever the percentage is.
Right.
So
The online renewals that people, if they want to do it online, those are transactions that are handled by the state. Those transaction
Right.
fees are,
that's why we can.
you have no
Yeah.
control over
That's-
those.
yeah.
Okay.
Carol, while you're here, would you mind just highlighting what we spoke about this morning?
Sure. Email came out the other day, the Division of Motor Vehicles, or Department of Revenue, is asking currently that law enforcement not enforce or not issue tickets to people whose car tags expire on March 31st until things get back to normal. They're giving them basically a 30-day extension
Until May 1st.
till May 1st to renew the tags on their vehicles. We can, we can still do it through the mail, online. Those things are all still available to them, but they didn't want everybody feeling like they were up against it. So they've done that request to law enforcement to not issue tickets for that. They've extended temporary permits an additional 30 days. So if you've got a dealer tag that expires in 45 days, and that's what you can't get up to get it done, then you have basically an extra 30 days for that. They are also at this point willing to waive all late fees if things can't get done. But they can get done. We've got a drop box. Steve got us all set up with a drop box outside. You do your paperwork, give us a call. We can actually tell you pretty closely what your fee is going to be. Drop the paperwork in the drop box. We're going to check it. I was on my way to check it when Debbie grabbed me in the hallway. We're going to be checking that on a regular basis. We're going to just keep moving. The only difference is you don't get to see our smiling faces. I mean, it will all get done. Same
So
quick
this is a
turnaround.
request. Have you heard from law enforcement on the request?
I'm just hoping really hard that they're going to honor it.
It says from the state, it says that
Has there been a discussion on,
I pushed it out to my guys, so my
Okay.
guys know.
But I mean, like the
It's been
state-
sent to all the sheriffs in the state. I don't know about them.
If you're getting stopped for another reason, I don't necessarily think that they're going to waive this too. But if all you're doing is driving around and you got a green tag, I don't think they're going to.
I can see where some issues could arise with this,
Law
since it's a
enforcement.
request,
Red tags
not
are
a
leading into
directive.
something else, but anyway, it's a request, so it's not an excuse. It's just one of those things that's being extended
You're
to
way
the
too
public.
kind.
so.
We got notices on those postcards, a month or 6 weeks before ours are due?
Right. You
And
can
I
renew.
guess I'm disgusted because I just put my new tags on yesterday.
You can renew your tags 90 days ahead of time. So
Yeah.
it's
There's no excuse.
there was
not
a
to.
window, but a lot of people just wait.
Yeah.
I've had people that they say they always wait till the end because at one time they bought a vehicle. This was before you could keep your plate. They just renewed the tag on their car. The car motor blew up. And then they were out that $60.
Oh.
So you get burned once and you
That's bad luck.
postpone. Yeah.
For
So-
some people, it's a financial thing that, you know, they have to wait till
Right.
up to that point, so.
All right. Thank you.
Also, you know, something that individuals may not realize is when you purchase a new vehicle or a used vehicle, that those transactions can actually be done just as well through the mail. That
Right.
is, they don't have to necessarily come up. to
Right,
the
they don't
dealer.
have to come up here. We do people that buy, you know, snowbirds that are down in Arizona, California, Florida, they're buying vehicles all winter long, just because they're there and they want to buy one. So doing title transfers through the mail will not be a new thing for us. We just need people to trust that it will get done the way they want it to get done, and it will. Just make sure you put your phone number on there, we'll call you, figure out what's wrong, what's missing, get it fixed, and it'll get done. Okay?
A lot of, a whole new learning for a lot of us to realize these things that we actually could do in other ways other than coming face to face.
And the public is excited to see your smiling face in the treasurer's office again.
They'll never come in the courthouse again.
We can put your picture
they'll
on-
be
we can
back.
put your picture on the web page maybe.
With a smile.
With a smiling face, there you go.
But it just, we're talking about a lot of this stuff, and so we've taken a lot of pains to get this on the website, you know, the links, the phone numbers, how to do this by mail or online. So this is the treasurer's page, so it talks about just what Carol was talking about. And even though the law enforcement is being asked to overlook this registration issues for the time being, it's still best to get it done, and that's the intent of this motion, is to encourage that, for folks to do that by mail.
Right, and if they, you know, as long as the fee is gone, then that hurdle is gone, so.
So, good. Thank you for coming. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that
Thanks,
motion
Carol.
carries. Thanks, Carol. Item number 12, discussion, possible action regarding COVID-19 procedures for county offices/buildings. So, as all of you are aware, there was a couple things that I had to do as a chair. One of the latest being the closure of the courthouse to the public. I guess I wanted to make it official amongst us as a board, and there's been a resolution that's drawn up that will also coincide with what the city is doing on some of those businesses. I'll push it over to Lee to do a little explanation. He's got it pulled up on, or can you pull it up
Yeah,
there?
I can.
Becky, were you okay with the latest version? Okay, this has been a working document, so yeah.
There's a couple of typos that I have fixed on my end.
Okay.
Which, I can fix them on
Did you get did I send you the latest one?
from
I think I got it from Lee.
Well, there's one that Todd took mine and just changed all the occurrences of ordinance to resolution. I'll send you this one. That's this.
Second line there, deemed, is not spelled correctly.
Which one? Deemed?
Implementing certain measures which have been deemed necessary. Deemed is spelled wrong.
Where am I? Why can't I see? Oh, okay, so it should be.
And then a little bit farther down, there's a case of a plural when Cottington County only has one case.
Yeah, I did see that cases.
The grammar, yeah.
It should
How
be
do you
one
spell
case.
deemed? How do you spell deemed?
Just D-E-E-M-E-D.
Oh, okay.
Yep, we were just missing an E.
Thought it looked, okay, there, that looks right.
Okay.
I hope this is the same
Okay.
one.
Okay, so a bit, just outline the basics of the resolution. The first page with all the whereases, it talks about, you know, basically what's going on in the world with COVID-19 and all the things taken at the federal and state levels, and
Okay, it's the same one.
that
Lee sent that.
whereas a case, you know, I'll change that right now, case of COVID-19. So that was kind of our trigger point for
Has
doing.
been confirmed.
Yeah, has been confirmed.
Instead of
Yeah,
have.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Take care of that.
That's all I noticed.
Yeah, thank you.
So-
And then so that's all, this is identical to a resolution for the most part. This part is identical to what other counties are doing, or very close to identical. And then the part where we're resolving the paragraph 1, just to go through this, is what Commissioner Hanton just said about closing the facility, so she had to make a provisional decision similar to a snowstorm or something like that over the weekend to close the courthouse, but now we need to take action to say that this is going to be for the duration of this crisis, and then it gives some specifics there that both the county and the court unified judicial system or court offices will continue to operate and conduct business by mail, email, online, by phone, or by on case by case arranging a face-to-face in person, say a curbside or outside the building kind of meeting. But there are occasions when people do come in, but that's going to be very controlled is the idea there. And then the number two is to make sure that we're following whatever the Department of Health guidance is at the time. So, right now we have a list of symptoms, the temperature over 100.4 degrees, dry cough, shortness of breath, those, have you been traveling, those kinds of screening questions. So whatever the guidance is at the time, that's what that's for. So, and then the rest is dealing with public places. So this is similar to what the city just did and what several other counties are doing to tell businesses that they need to close except for curbside or takeout service is essentially what that is there. So I hope you've had a chance to read through it, but essentially this is, the idea is to limit places where people are going to congregate or be in large groups and where it will be difficult to maintain social distancing. So I know this is not an easy decision that we're thinking about here, but it is exactly the kind of thing that we need to do to slow the spread. So,
for the rest of you, I don't know, Glenn Billhauer would like to speak to us on the behalf of the city. Would you like to hear him at this point in time before we approve something like this?
Do you have his number?
Yes, I do. Get to that. Okay, it is 868-3239. Glenn. This is Brenda at the County Commission meeting, and we're just kind of going over the county as well as considering adopting a resolution similar to what you folks did yesterday. So I just would like to give you this opportunity as the city to inform us of what your measures have been.
Sure, and I've been watching the meeting online, so I'm aware of where you are in the discussion. It sounds like you're doing very similarly to what we as a city did yesterday relative to asking for work-going non-essential businesses to essentially shut their doors to inside dining or, gathering, whatever. And but again, we want to make sure we're clear that it's only for non-essential. There's a whole list of businesses that does not include. For example, industry, it does not include that. It does not include grocery stores. I mean, the Walmart, the Target, doesn't include those places because we aren't deeming those to be essential yet. So I'm guessing you're probably patterning yours very closely to what we passed yesterday.
Yes, that is our intent because, obviously we want to keep those essential businesses up and operational. So this is mostly in the attempt to do your very thing, the social distancing, and to limit that.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like, and just so you know, it sounds like you're patterning yours after, sounds like ours. We patterned ours almost identically off Beale County and Huron yesterday when we passed our ordinance change. And just to know, we did not put an end date on this. We said we could amend it or change it whenever. So we plan on reviewing this on a fairly regular basis. The circumstances have changed, so we need to either lift it or tighten it up even more. I'm not an attorney. I think there's probably a lot of questions out there. As I see comparing this to what the governor's executive proclamation says, I do see this being a little bit tighter, if I'm not mistaken. Do you folks have any opinion on that?
Yeah, I would say so as well. I'll actually be having an exec meeting this afternoon with our state association board to kind of discuss that very thing.
Okay, yeah, because it was rather vague in listening to her and also reading the proclamation. So I took our action to be a little bit stronger than what she laid out in her order. Also, in the same line, man, as you're aware, we've shuttered, we've closed City Hall, the Wellness Center, the zoo, any city building, and encouraging people, obviously, to transact business, email, through the mail, whatever, as much as possible. So I think we're lockstep on that. Something else that came out of our meeting yesterday, and I see Chris Shilton is in attendance at your meeting. He can probably speak this better than I can, or as well as I can. We also have set up a $150,000 revolving loan fund with the funds coming out of our sewer and garbage enterprise fund to give to the development company for them to administer zero interest loans. A lot of details we worked out, but we did approve that, and we'll be forwarding those funds on to the development company. So again, Chris could probably speak the details more fully than I, but we did take that action yesterday, and hopefully we can put together a fund that will do some good, not a cure-all obviously, but do some good to those that might be in need as we work through this. So a lot of moving parts. I guess I'd encourage people, again, 3 o'clock this afternoon is another update from our local Unified Command team. Encourage people to watch that or listen to that. And as I understand, I think the governor's going to be on at 11:30. She's going to be having another press conference this morning. So again, I guess stay tuned. And biggest concern is from our standpoint is let's all work together and put out the same message rather than going on Facebook or social media and hearing all sorts of news. Let's all listen and work together as far as getting the same message out there to our citizens.
I agree wholeheartedly with you on that comment, Glenn. We need to stay working together, and so it's less confusing for our folks. And also with the governor, she has pretty much left it to local control to do what works for your communities. So, yeah.
Just be prepared. I got some pretty strong emails in opposition to our action yesterday. Some pretty strong emails last night that didn't like this action. So be prepared for it from your end as you take this action.
Yes, I'm sure. It's a very difficult time for all of us, and we don't like being put in this position either, but it's all in about public safety and what needs and what direction we need to take at this time.
Sure. Well, that's all I've got from my end. Sounds like you folks are in step with what we're doing at the city level, and I guess stay tuned.
Yes, thank you for calling in, or allowing us to call you.
Have a good day, folks.
You too. Thank you. Okay, so do we want to take action on this, or let Chris have an opportunity to explain?
I think we're good to hear from Chris.
Let Chris come and speak to what Glenn was saying before we take action on this.
Chris Shilton, Watertown Development Company. Thanks for allowing some time here this morning. The initial thought was we would put together a revolving loan fund, zero interest fund with some city money. We were on the municipal utility agenda on Monday for the same request, and we've also received private donations from other businesses. So our plan was to wait until after the meeting on Monday with utilities to come out with our final rules of how many dollars we have available, what's the maximum loan amount, kind of what the eligible uses are for. And one of the goals, and Glenn kind of said it right too, it's not a cure-all because there's just not, I think as everybody's finding out, the financial impact is going to be huge and there's just not enough money to fix everything at one time. So it's hopefully going to be used to bridge a gap between, for small businesses, retail, and service businesses between now and when the feds come out with their final rule for SBA loans, what some of those forgivable programs look like, and all of that, which is still up in the air today. So I'd also like to add, too, that there's been a weekly, or if not, bi-weekly call with local manufacturers, which has been led by Terex so far, but it's more of a information sharing portal or place for manufacturers to talk about best practices, what they're seeing in their own shops and different things. So that's been going very well. And we're also going to have a call with community lenders today from the banks about what they see as, you know, all of this together hopefully works with loan forgiveness on potential stuff, deferments on things. So hopefully with a combination of everything, we can get to the other end. Of course, knowing it's going to be a bumpy ride until we get there. So that's kind of an update, open for any questions, but final details until we know what our total loan balance to start with. We haven't put any finals together yet.
Still a little early.
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, we appreciate your input. Did anybody have any other questions?
Just,
Chris?
do you have any feedback on this proposed resolution? I mean, this is similar to what the city did. Any thoughts as the development guy?
And I'll echo everybody. It's not an easy decision. I mean, we get calls too that some think it's needed, some don't, and it's people's livelihoods. So what we're trying to do is, if it does happen, we can have a program out there that can at least bridge a gap between now and when things come out and when they can reopen. Again, the only right answer is there's no right answer in my opinion. Everything changes so quick, and it's very emotional for people and not fun.
Chris, and maybe you haven't determined this yet, who would be eligible, like, for those funds? Is it cities, counties, small towns, or who the loan fund's going to be available to?
Our initial target is small businesses, so if they need to keep employees on until this gets figured out, if they need to pay utilities or rent until their landlords are able to forgive them their rent, just to, again, bridge gap. It's not the silver bullet that fixes everything, but that's the initial, and then we'll see what kind of feedback we get. It could be changed later if it's not being used the way we initially thought, which could very well be possible. It's just nobody quite knows what is going to come. So we wanted to do something. I think doing nothing was not a good idea. So and open to changing that if we get different requests.
What is the procedure for these small businesses to reach out and ask for that help?
Yeah, so we're coming up with an application and then some final eligible rules and what that looks like to be released hopefully next Monday.
So is this something that you're suggesting that we as a county consider contributing to? Is that kind of what we're, the element in the room that we're, or?
Yeah, and again, it's always difficult asking people for donations at this time because tax revenues are going to be down, business is going to be down, but if you guys want to consider that we'd certainly be open. And a long-range strategy is that the fund will have its own account, so it'll be a donation to the fund, and then that can be used to revolve. If in the future it could be used for, you know, if businesses are struggling because of flooding or maybe some highway construction. So it could be set up as a disaster relief fund. That's the plan going forward. So once we're through this disaster, it will be there as loans start coming back in to be used for any future stuff.
How urgent do you think this is? Is this something, because it's not on our agenda, this is something we could consider?
I'd say a future request would be,
okay.
You know, if you guys
or something
want to do that, I think future discussion would be just fine.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you. A lot of unknowns, yeah.
That's
but it's
true.
coming together. The community's stepping up and helping each other out. That's good. I'd like to see that.
Thank
Thanks,
you for
Chris.
your
Thank you. Thanks
You've been
thank
a
you.
great asset and a wealth of information. Appreciate you and what
Thank
you're
you.
doing.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Right. So we need a motion on this resolution yet, if I'm correct.
I'm willing to make the motion, but not excited about it, but willing to. A number, just so people could take one more look at paragraphs 1 and 2 under the resolution, the result part, just to make sure that that wording looks okay to you, because it's specifically about county services. I think the rest of the text reflects what's in other jurisdictions or resolutions.
We're looking at this going into effect at midnight on Thursday morning, is that right? The 26th?
Yeah, for all
12:01 p.m.?
the closures,
Yeah,
yeah.
the closures.
Yeah,
The other ones we pretty much already,
The things related to accounting services, like, the buildings, accounting facilities and the services, that's immediate.
Right.
Becky, do you see any issue with those at all?
No, I mean, we have that unified judicial system is still open, and we're able to make arrangements for those things, so.
Okay.
So, and the other paragraph 2 basically says that if you deal with a person face-to-face or in person, that, and they display the symptoms that were,
Specified is spelled wrong.
and
Oh,
that's
yeah,
my,
it is.
which specified, oh, the second one, can fix that one.
Because we
Typing
have
fast.
adopted a protocol of individuals, that have to, like through the court system, of what they will be expected to be able to pass per se, or a screening that
Yeah.
for those individuals that they won't be allowed in if they're experiencing any of those
Right.
sort of
And
things.
so-
And that's more
and
on the judicial side.
And that guidance is going to be coming, there's a
Was
constant.
the city's resolution March 26th or 27th?
26th.
26, okay.
Yeah, so this
All right.
is matching up.
For some
Yeah,
reason, I had the
mirrors the
27th.
This matches up to the
Yep.
cities, yeah.
Okay.
This mirrors theirs.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
The timing does, and
Okay.
we just added those top 2 paragraphs to deal with county
Yep.
facilities and services. So essentially what we're saying to our county offices is if they, set up a face-to-face kind of service, then they need to, and that person displays the symptoms
You did.
of coronavirus, then they need to refuse that person's service and encourage them to seek medical attention. So that's the only, just want to make sure that that's clear to people.
The city
So-
listed an SDCL of them where it provides them that, the power to do.
But that's a municipal code.
Right, but I mean, is
So I don't
that
know,
something
I
that
don't
we
know
need
if
to
there's a county,
insert
I
in
don't know if there's
ours?
a county code anywhere similar to that, I guess.
Do we want to check on that?
Do we need to insert a county code where we do have the power to, look at 718A7, it's about resolutions, but I don't know if it, so 718A7.
Oh, we do refer that in number 9.
Okay, then we should be all right.
Yeah, it's in section 9, right?
To make sure that says what it's supposed to say.
Okay, yeah, it is at the end. Okay.
Okay.
718, that's 32. 718.
Oh, okay.
718A7. A7, but that's maybe just on a resolution. That's just the proper procedure of resolutions.
Okay.
So I don't know, is that something that we should also insert? Where they have their section provides that municipalities shall have the power to do what may be necessary or expedite for promotion of health or the suppression of disease. I don't know if we have anything like that.
What you can use is 7820 sub 10. 7820 sub 10 to do and perform such other duties and acts as it is or may hereafter be required to do and perform. So just a catch-all.
Okay.
7/8/20? I don't see a sub 10.
Under the.
Oh, I see, okay.
So
sub
where
10.
would we want to insert that at? Where would
Let's
be
see,
the
whereas,
first-
In the first
yeah.
whereas?
Okay.
Yeah.
Has the authority to pass, so yeah, we
Yes.
can put per
Yeah.
that statute.
Yeah, okay.
Well, then we need to, okay, so. It's kind of tedious for the public to watch us, we're doing this on the fly here, but so is that in the upper section where all the whereases?
In the first whereas.
First whereas, okay.
Before the and, you can put per and then state that statute and then put and.
Okay.
Or what?
Oh, no, I'm just
What is it, 7/8?
looking at what somebody else is doing.
7/8-20. And then 10, the sub 10. gotta have subsection 10 in there,
Is it
sub 10.
how do you say that? Just like that?
0.10.
That's point one.
I just think we probably should have our, what gives us the power to do
Yeah,
this
no, I agree.
as part of that.
Give me a second, let me make sure I got, is that, Becky, did I annotate that correctly up there? I don't know if you can see that from, let's see.
Oh, parens around the 10, no dot.
I had it right.
Okay, so now we should be legally within our guidelines to enact something like this. Anyone else see anything else?
That was a good catch.
Well, I've got a question on, on the third page. Now, straighten me out here, it says number 8, this ordinance, but we're talking about a resolution.
Oh, we changed them all to resolutions.
It's got
That's
to
what
be
I've been saying,
resolution.
on mine it doesn't change, so.
Yep, want to
that's-
change that?
Yeah, yeah,
And then that's on number 8 and number 9.
See, that's on the old copy, the one that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the screen, Myron, so we,
Yeah.
yeah, we went through, actually Todd Keys did that
Yep,
for us.
I got it now. I thought that those were supposed to be changed, but
Yeah, no, we just had, that
They're
was,
never set out.
that was from my, that's just my set of eyes last night.
Yeah, there's so many of those.
Yeah.
Once you start stopping, so. So the one that's on the screen is the one that we're going to, so the ones that we have hard copies of have been changed since you received them. Apologize, it's kind of a working document, so. All right, what's your wishes, I guess, with this?
So
We have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Lee.
To adopt this resolution. Second.
Second by Waterman. Any other discussion?
Do we need to have the resolution number, or you assign that?
Resolution 2020-7.
Type that in.
Okay.
what will be the procedure to, okay, when's the drop deadline? How are we going to get out of this? Okay, that's the question I have, you know. We say, you know, we have this resolution, and it's going to restrict people to attend a lot of, you know, like movies and bowling alleys and all this stuff, but just out of the clear blue, is it going to have to come back?
Recommendation 15 days and
Yep.
then reevaluate? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be, nobody has that answer at this time. It's
No,
kind
no,
of just going,
but is there, like, in 50 days we'll review it again, or what?
oh,
what
it's going to
procedure
be
should-
constantly being reviewed as we get updates from other entities. And I mean, as businesses are starting to get opened up again, then this will be
So then we
relaxed.
just put it on the agenda to
Just a standing
rescind
order.
it.
I think we need
Yeah.
to put it on the agenda just to.
Just
And that's my
standing
question.
Every week.
That procedure, you
Kind of
know,
like number 12, we'll just leave that on. Procedures for county
Well,
offices /
I'd
buildings.
say in review of resolution, I mean, you can name the resolution, review of resolution.
Add it to it.
2020-7.
Right into that.
Yeah.
and let's hope it
Because-
doesn't stay on there very long.
Well, none of us hope that that's the
Yeah.
case.
Hopefully the rain will wash it away.
Right.
Yeah. Hopefully.
All right. Any other discussion on this resolution? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that resolution passes, and we'll work through the processes of what we need to do next.
If there's any business owners out in the county that have questions on this, who should they call?
That's the thing I want to work out with Becky. How do we notify, you know, what do we do to proper procedure? You know, yeah, we'll work that all out, and
I mean,
they
people can
deserve.
always contact us. I mean,
Yeah, and they can
There's gonna be
contact,
questions about,
Right.
can I keep my business open? Do I have to close? You know, I mean,
Yeah, it's, if you read through, it's probably this is dealing with mostly the restaurants, food courts, coffee houses, bars, breweries, distilleries, wineries, all those kinds of places where you serve food or alcohol or
There's
things.
actually not that many.
Yeah, there's not
We
that
don't
many.
have
Not that many in the county.
We don't have jurisdiction over the small towns.
So
The
this
only
is a-
thing, okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's true. So,
They're municipalities.
yeah, so, yeah, if it's a
Yeah.
municipality, we don't have jurisdiction,
have
but,
jurisdiction.
so a lot of this language is.
Basically, it's the,
Go ahead.
basically, it's the one that holds liquor
It's
licenses
the four
in the
liquor
county.
license holders
The
that
four-
we
the
have,
four of them.
that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
And I don't know of any other businesses.
This is another question. So what businesses in the county have conditional uses, like our hunting lodges, those sorts of things? Are they included in on this?
Yeah?
Yeah, they would, if they're
So
serving
we
food
may
in
have to
there.
go through some of those conditional uses, and see
Yeah,
which,
if they're serving food in a place where people gather. If they
yeah, it's
can-
a gathering
but-
place.
But it says, it doesn't, no, you have to read the whole thing. So if they do want to provide,
Curbside.
so this does not apply to places of public accommodation that offer food and beverages for off-site consumption, so grocery stores, markets, et cetera. It does not include room service in hotels, which would be similar, I guess you could take food back to a room in a hunting lodge if it's set up that way. So,
Becky, it's not a percentage of food sales, is it? Okay.
Okay, I just received a listing of our establishments in the county that has conditional uses. South Fork, Waverly Country Road Barn, Waverly Steakhouse, Rooster Bar, Joy Ranch, Rawville Station, Trap Range, and Lake, that I'm not really sure of, Tim Chandler Hunting Lodge. Those are the establishments in our county that would qualify under this resolution.
it may, and there's some specifics, so read through the ordinance, we'll put it online so that people can see it.
Yes.
And then,
So they would qualify to stay open.
yeah,
They would be qualified to close.
well, they're,
Unless they're serving
Unless they're
food
able
that's
to-
carry out or curbside.
Yeah.
so you want to, basically
They
you
can
want
still
to,
provide food. They don't have to close, they just have to close to the public
Yeah.
if they're food
Right.
service.
If they have a food service, they can offer curbside
Right.
pickup, delivery, whatever this,
yeah, and I don't know how the hunting lodge
delivery.
is set up, but, theoretically, if they could eat the food in their rooms, then they could do that too. So this would not prohibit room service in a lodging
right.
place.
How about the sale barn that has a coffee bar or a snack place in the sale barn?
Yeah.
That's,
That wasn't on our list of conditional uses in the county. That's
That's a city.
Yeah, that's city, so
Yeah.
that's not ours. I listed the ones that we have in the county that have a conditional use that would fit this sort of situation.
Okay, I want to take this just a little bit farther to warmer weather. If you're serving food inside, we'll just pick one of them that's on the list, makes no difference. They want to set up an outside terrace to serve food on.
I think it still falls under the licensing.
Instead of an enclosed building,
On-site.
they're serving food outside.
It's on.
It's still on
On-site
site.
consumption, it's a license.
And you're going to have probably more than 20 people there. I want to correct that one thing that I said. It's the trap range north of the lake. That's what that meant. I reread it several times, and yeah, so it's the trap range north of the lake, All right, so those are our establishments that have
Hopefully,
conditional
we're
uses.
just talking about a couple weeks. I
Yes.
mean, hopefully, we don't know, nobody has an answer, but we will lift that as soon as we can, trust us, because
Absolutely.
we want our mom and pop businesses to be open and producing revenue for you, so we'll do everything we can to get it back open as soon as we can.
Yes. Okay, so, did we vote on that motion?
Yes, you did.
Okay, we're good with that. Any other discussion under 12 regarding to COVID-19?
Aside from we wanted to
we
get
have-
out of here,
What's that?
aside from we wanted to get out of here,
Yeah. I can't think
I
of
would,
any
I
right now.
would just encourage people to look at the county website. I mean, just since we've been talking so much about trying to not come into county buildings, I'll show people what, if you don't mind, Madam Chair. So, if you want, a lot of what we've been talking about, getting services by mail or email or online, that's on the county website. This is the Cottington.org, the welcome page, and there's a link here that talks about how you can get stuff done by mail or or online. So in other words, without coming to the courthouse or whatever the county facility is. So there's a list of all the things and how to get it done, phone numbers, web links, all those things. So even paying a traffic ticket at the clerk of courts is on there. So you can do that online. So even visiting a jail inmate, you can do that online. So because they have an online capability in the jail. So all those things, we're trying to still do business, but under the present circumstances. So.
There's one more to the list, Glacial Lakes Motor Club. There may be a few that dwindle in here as we go, but Glacial Lake Motor Club is also one that would fall under that category. All right, we'll move on then. Item number 13, action to approve claims for payment.
We have 3 claims for payment. The first one is our monthly claim to the Watertown City Finance Office for the 911 surcharge collections from January. That's $23,177.91. The others are our Visa Reliabank payments, one in the amount of $780.37 for emergency management and search and rescue, various supplies and travel costs. And the final one is also to Visa Reliabank for the Sheriff's Office for $782.55 for supplies and various costs.
All right.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Gable. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Van Duzen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Action, number 14, action to approve automatic budget supplements.
None today.
All right. 15, action to approve personnel changes.
We have 2 of those, both out of the Sheriff's Office. The first one is Kathy Young. She's a criminal civil support coordinator. Due an anniversary step increase to step 14, $22.36 per hour. Christy Gast is the records manager in the Sheriff's Office. Due an anniversary step increase to step 13, $24.87 per hour.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Gable, second by Waterman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Travel requests.
Just one of those.
Move to approve.
And that is the Director of Equalization to attend the assessing officer's mid-year school in Pierre.
Motion by Johnson. Do I have a second? Second by Gable. That's all pending what goes on, but at this point.
It's not until July.
Right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Well, we won't have any quorums of commissioners probably at any events for a little while. There's none on the list right now anyways, so we'll move on to number 18, old business. Anyone have any old business?
Madam Chair, do you want to just outline the meetings you've been going to with the city and just a little bit of who's involved in that during this crisis, and so that we have a kind of a good picture of all what's going on there?
So I, as the county commissioner, I am the liaison officer on the task force group that Jamie was mentioning. Cindy is also on there as the finance officer under the ICS guidelines and their setup. What is that called? Structure. What is that called, Troy?
Called a task force. COVID-19. It's the Watertown Area COVID-19 Task Force.
What's the ICS term for the
Incident command
logistics?
or unified command.
Unified
command system.
Yes,
That's the tiered of everybody has their duties and then it spreads out.
The organizational chart was kind of.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, the organizational chart. So I'm part of that. I'm also been put on a subcommittee of that with 3 other individuals who had started out to be working with trying to organize volunteers and needs in our community and try to get all of that onto 211. So when we get all that information plugged into there, we're really going to encourage individuals with any sorts of needs or if they're able to help to call 211 and utilize that asset that we have now and not, try to relieve the 911 call center for emergency sort of situations. Also have had an executive board call, and again this this afternoon with the SDACC, trying to keep all of us just in communication with, and Chris Jacobson is sending those out, and Cindy's forwarding to you as well what other counties are doing, so it's all changing as we go.
There was another interesting thing that people might not be aware of, but at the federal level, the White House is actually reaching out to local authorities. So I got to sit in on a phone call. And that was pretty impressive. I mean, they had the vice president on the line for a bit, and they went through all the different agencies and what they're doing with this crisis. And the idea there is to keep the local authorities informed about what's going on. And so this is, it's kind of a top to bottom kind of approach to this crisis.
And those phone calls are through our NACO organization that had invites to the White House and have taken advantage of those. So, it's very interesting to hear what's happening as we move through this. So, I guess that would be all that I can think of right now that I've been going to and a part of. Anyone else have anything? Anything under new business?
So, Madam Chair, just if we get, I'm a little concerned that if we might get to a point where we want to, depending on how long this goes on, where we might want to be able to meet virtually. So with an app like what Jody was discussing in her extension report, using an app like Zoom, which allows us to have electronic meetings, that could be a little bit tricky to work out. GoToMeetings, that kind of an app. But I think there's going to be, if we do that, there's a licensing fee, and then it would rely on one of us probably to set it up. So just
the GoToMeeting is $14 a month, I think. So it's not a huge amount, and it would be for a short time. I mean, hopefully. So
I think Zoom is something like, I think it's the annual fee. It's $100 and some. So it's a similar amount
for a whole year.
For a whole year, yeah. So
maybe we don't know that this is going to last a year. So is it more economical for us to do it month by month?
Yeah, it's a pretty handy thing to have. I mean, it's a handy.
And that would be like a conference call, I think.
It's kind of a video conference call. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and everybody would have to have an iPad, or you could do it on your smartphone. Hopefully all the band, we'd have to test it out, but I'm just kind of putting a bug in folks' ears. I'll start looking into that to see what we can do.
I was going to say, Troy also contacted me. Do you two want to kind of work on that? We can put it on the agenda for next week and maybe try to get that up and going, and you guys coordinate.
The governor hosts a conference call with news media every day where there's 30, 40 people online. And
what's the agenda item?
There's, so I know that there's
possibility of implementing discussion possible action on implementing procedures for virtual meetings.
Yeah.
Does that sound okay?
That sounds fine. Yeah. So right now we have the ability to call in. I mean, that's allowed by law. The thing is, with the public meeting laws, we have to balance that out. So somebody would probably have to be here to show it, at least on the screen, people on the screen. And the main thing is that you have the audio, that everybody can hear what everybody's saying. Mm-hmm. So, but that's something we might have to get better at.
Yeah. Lee, could you take that other language off the bottom of the resolution?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just, that's stuff
I tried taking it off, but it won't let me.
Oh, Todd pasted that on there, so I'll see what I can.
We'll get that out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. That's just the references to the statutes.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I can't use it for my.
Anything else for the open? And I wonder if the girls have received any calls.
No.
Madam Chair, just real quick, just a couple things. Just a reminder that the Watertown Area Task Force is having daily briefings at 3 p.m. Those are live streamed. We're also carrying those live. And then in addition to that, the governor will be talking here at 11:30. That is going to specifically, in addition to the COVID-19 updates in the state, is also going to focus around education. So we anticipate some big announcements coming from her today about school closures and that sort of thing. So that's at 11:30 this morning.
A couple of things. We will be meeting, South Dakota Retirement System will be meeting next week, but it'll be all telecommunications. And again, just like we're doing right here, we're talking about trying to figure out some way that we can virtually do this. And in such a short time to get things put together, we just decided that telecommunications is going to have to work the best. Going to limit the agenda to as brief as very possible. But most important, people, today is National Ag Day. And I'd be remiss if we didn't stop a minute and just acknowledge our producers out in our community, our county, our state. Those farmers are working hard out there. And this virus is affecting them. How would you like to be sitting with 10,000 bushel of soybeans or corn right now, or a lot full of fat cattle? It's nuts. I mean, it just drives you crazy. And so we just really have to give them a lot of credit for all the work that they do, and it's about calving season. And remember, our county runs on real estate taxes, and they pay their fair share. They pay a lot of real estate taxes. So again, hats off and a big thank you to the ag producers in our county and our state.
All right, thank you for that, Myron, and ditto to what Myron just said. Yeah, none of us always need to remember those comments. All right, anything else for the open? All right, I would ask that we go into executive session per number 1, personnel, number 3, contracts, and then number 4, safety or disaster discussion.
What is that referring to, safety or disaster discussion?
Just some, it will be about procedures that we may have to implement as far as some of job-related, that might be because of what's happening with the COVID, that we might have to alter some of our something. I don't know how to, just it's with something that's in place that may need, we just need to talk about an exact, it's related to because of COVID that's delaying some of this stuff that we need to figure out how to move forward on it. So just need our HR input from that.
So it's going to relate to both that and the HR, the personnel part of it? So,
yes.
Yeah, all right.
Sorry.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Got a motion by Gable, do I have a second? Second by Waterman, and we will come out and have some action for sure on number 9, and possibly, well, these other things we may have to put on the agenda for next week.
Yeah, but we might, we will have action.
Yep, there will be some action. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, we are in executive session. We need to get Terry on the line. Steve, you'll need to be part of that.